Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hope everyone is doing okay today. It's your boy here, Julius, again on the show, The Defining Decade. And today we're going to be having another exceptional, awesome time talking about excellent things, things that will change our lives, things that will change our perspective to life, and things that will make us better. And we have on the show today a very important guest that I'll be introducing in a little bit. But before I go ahead and bring on my guest and all of that, I want to play some songs of his so you guys get to see a little bit of who is going to be on the show. When this is going on, please do well to share the live video, share it, and invite a lot of people to join. This is such a show that you cannot miss for any reason. You cannot afford to not be a part of this information. So let's go ahead and share and share and share.
The war with no rules in need. Why the rules when them will make it be the first to break? Carry guns and give a child to hold. Was it you and I, or was it the UNO raped in Congo? They take them guns and them bombs and them kill our sons, report it on the news as if it's our fault. La da la da la da la da oh. Savior, come and give me la da. Oh, la da oh. La da la da la da la da oh. Messiah, come and give me la da. La da la da la da la da oh. La da la da la da oh. Savior, come and give me la da. La da la da la da la da oh. Messiah, come and give me la da oh. Write these words and let the children read that a man is not judged by the color of his skin or how he prays. For we are all the children of one loin. Is it you and I, or is it them who make the post to melt? I want to take my guitar and sing my favorite song. So stand on your feet and make me sing along and say la da la da la da la da oh. Oh, la da oh. Savior, come and give me la da. La da la da la da la da oh. Messiah, come and give me la da. La da la da la da la da oh. Savior, come and give me la da.
Hello, everybody joining us again this afternoon. My name is Julius, and I'm here being your host on the Defining Decade. And you were just listening to an amazing piece by the phenomenal Wazih. Wazih is a phenomenal name in the industry, in the music industry in Cameroon, and of course in the world. Today, you're going to have the privilege of getting to meet him, hearing about his story and a lot of things. He's a very deep guy in the inside. He has a lot of knowledge on a lot of things. And one thing I admire about him is the depth of knowledge he has, and the depth of that knowledge can be reflected in his lyrics. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to go ahead and hear him in a little bit. Before I go ahead and bring him on, I want to play again one other little piece of his while you go ahead and share the live link. I want to have as many people on this live before we go ahead and officially bring him in and get started. So wherever you are, please share, and share.
I reached out to over 100 people. I asked them about their day. I asked them about the wrinkles on their faces and why they didn't smile more. I told them my story. They told me theirs. We both smiled. for we all just want to be happy. Turn up the music, turn on the lights. I wanna feel this like it's my last. You don't know a thing about my problems. I don't really care about yours too. Let us lay aside all our troubles and take a deep dive inside these bubbles. We just wanna be happy. We just wanna be loved. We just wanna be happy. We just wanna be loved. We just wanna be happy. We just wanna be loved. We just wanna be happy. We just wanna be loved. Turn up the
We just want to be
music,
happy.
turn
We
on the
just want to be
lights.
loved.
My phone is ringing, but it's alright. Probably lose my job and get in trouble. But what gives an F? Let's take a double. Let her lay aside all our troubles, drink away all the sorrows. True love is hard, we go out there, we find it, we find it. We break these walls and break our hearts, we pick it, we bind it. We all just play a part. Don't tear these words apart. We just wanna be happy, we just wanna be loved. We just wanna be happy, we just wanna be loved. We just wanna be happy, we just wanna be loved. We just wanna be happy, we just wanna be loved.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a lot of sharing. We've been doing some sharing as well in the background. Of course, we're here today to meet Wazih, Wazih. So I'm not going to take so long. I'm going to bring him on and then we can have the conversation as we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to We Just Want to Be Happy. It's called Be Happy by Wazih. You also listening to Lada by Wazih. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Wazih. Okay.
Hello,
Hey, Mr.
hello.
Wazih, can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you, Mr. Julius.
Awesome, awesome.
How
It's
are
good to
you?
have you here live on the show. While we are having a lot of people joining to listen to your infinite wisdom, I want to personally welcome you to the show, sir. It's an honor to meet you again today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Julius, for having me. Thank you for honoring me with your uh, audience and your platform. And let's make it a memorable one.
Absolutely, of
Let's
course,
have a
of
good
course.
time.
Of of course, so this platform we host people with great minds, people who can come and talk to the youths, the young people, from even to children, from children, the teenagers, the young people, and of course even the older people. We talk to all the people who are looking at engaging at life a lot differently. They want to change a perspective to life. They want to have the right
Mhm.
perspective to life. Why? Because the reality of life has not been very fair to a lot of people, and the truth is that we have to talk about things like this, bring up important topics like this, because I believe that we are a light to our generation. We're going to be coaching
Mhm.
people that are older than us, coaching people at our age groups, and of course, younger. It is never too late to start over. It's never too late to engage in something. It's never too late to define a clear path for your life. And that is why, of course, with your great mind as well, your experience and travels all over the world, I wanted to bring you on the show today so we can review some of these things and talk about them, share the experiences, and of course, encourage someone to encourage someone.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Let's get to it.
So briefly, what I have here is
Mhm.
I have here your a little bio that I gathered on you.
Yeah.
Personally, we basically we grew up together in the same home. the same
Yes.
place, had similar experiences. People will see us now and think that life was, or probably life has been easy, but they don't understand how difficult things had been for us, you know. And
Exactly.
I want us to share, go ahead, and we're going to share a little bit of that story today so people understand that when they see us today, we don't consider that we have arrived yet, but we know where we are headed. And like you always tell me, that we gotta stop for a second and be proud of how far we have come and what we are now. You know, you always encourage me and you tell me that, hey, bro, looking at where we're coming from and what we have been able to achieve, we gotta be proud of it, and then of course stand on that and be able to push and move forward even more.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So I have here with me, sir, a little bio about Mr. Wazih. Wazih. Wazih is a Cameroonian singer and a songwriter born in Bamenda, Cameroon, and a FRIMA 2018 award nominee, and an award-winning artist as well, of course, from Bamenda, Cameroon. He is a guitarist, a percussionist, and of course, a recording artist whose style of music is a mixture of an Afro soul and contemporary jazz, as well as a world and Afro music fusion. His debut album, Right Perspective, was number one world music chart in Cameroon, France, and Canada. And his hit single, Be Happy, I personally really love that one, which earned him several local nominations as well as an AFRIMA Awards nomination under the category of Best Male Inspirational Artist. Has been a phenomenal piece. Wazir is a prolific live performer and sings in four different languages. That is something that when I was reviewing, I personally was going to applaud you for that, because four languages, including our local mother tongue, that is that is brilliant right there, sir. So I
Yes,
can go
sir.
on and on with all of this. I kept it really brief because if we have to talk about you, talk about your entire bio, we're gonna be writing a book, you know. So before we go ahead and get started, in few words, this is me reading your bio. Can you tell us about yourself by yourself? Things that at least, are personal, normal stuff, simple stuff, things that even the most real person on the street can get to understand about you.
Sometimes introducing yourself is the most difficult thing to do
I
because
know.
yeah, each time someone asks you like, hey, tell me about yourself, it's like everything formats in your brain. But
Hmm.
I generally consider myself as a human first, and by that I mean someone who has uh, accepted and embraced all the feelings of being human and what comes with being human and the pain of it, and he's just trying to understand his environment and to evolve within it and to become like the best person that he
Hmm.
can be.
Hmm.
So uh, what I have done so far is really insignificant in describing who I am. I feel
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
I feel like who I am is mostly a concept of what I decide each day to do in terms of my choices, in terms of my routines, and in terms of the people I meet, because those are the things that shape me into who I'm evolving into. I don't know if that
Yes, sir.
makes sense as an
Hmm.
introduction, but I'm just a person that is experiencing the world, that is affecting his environment, and that is being affected by his environment. And I'm excited to meet me, probably the me of tomorrow.
I like when you always say that. I was looking at your on your Facebook, and I see that of course you have the meet Wazi. So I'm thinking in my head, why meet Wazi? And then I think of what you always say. How you're proud of meeting yourself. And you're even excited about the you that you're going to meet tomorrow, and that's
Yes.
that's phenomenal right there. So I definitely can relate to that. One thing you said is the importance of us believing in ourselves. You said something about the you noun. You know that the you noun is not what you're supposed to be. yet, So you're working hard building because you're excited to meet the you of tomorrow. That
Yes,
is
sir.
exceptional, sir. I actually have been preparing a presentation with my team here
Mm-hmm.
on mindset and being focused, right? Mindset, because life is all about mindset. Everything that we do is all coded in the kind of mindset that we build.
Mm-hmm.
Life's success is pretty much based on what you believe in, and your belief determines your action, and your action determines your results. And then, of course, but before those results, you must believe. And so I realized that people tend to become what they believe in. So there are all those different influences. Anyways, before we get into this section of the conversation and we hear what you have for us, let me take you back memory lane to the very basics, right?
Yes,
Man,
sir.
you were born in Mankon, Bamenda, Cameroon,
Yes.
a very small neighborhood there in Bamenda, with a very beautiful family, very united, God-fearing family as well. And you grew up, as a very normal person, nothing crazy, nothing out of the ordinary, not a super rich kid, of course. Can you tell
Mm-hmm.
us about that childhood experience, growing up, how it was? Because when people watch you on the youth forum in Egypt, they're thinking in their head that maybe Wazih is the son of some minister or some rich guy somewhere that was just served with the best of life and so on. So I would like you to talk to the viewers about the reality of how your childhood was.
I was born in Tarinkon actually.
Okay.
Before yeah, at some point we moved to Nitop one. I actually grew up from let me say poor family because their perception of their financial status wasn't actually what was, because I remember my dad was always like a very proud man. He would never call himself a poor man. Like to his death, he was always like professing that he's a billionaire. You of course you know that
Yes, sir.
like the
Absolutely.
way,
Absolutely.
yeah, the way he carries himself, the way he would dress, like he's someone who always invests like in nice suits, nice shirts, nice shoes. Like he was a very neat and clean person. So
Hmm.
he never like had. He was a mechanic actually. That's something most people don't know before.
Hmm.
Yeah. So he was. My dad was a mechanic, and earlier on, my mom wasn't like working. So at some point, like if things got difficult within the family, and my mom was selling like food, like cooked food at the market. And then
Hmm.
before evolving into like owning like a boutique where she sold like ready-made clothes, and then started going to like Nigeria and other places to buy clothes. But
Hmm.
before that, like we grew up in a really, I feel like it was really poor, but we never felt poor actually. But you only like know that you guys are poor when you go to like secondary school, and then you discover that other kids actually, hey, you people have the you know, and you people eat this here. I bet
Yes,
growing
sir.
up like yeah, it was really difficult. Not as an experience because we are from a really united, neat family.
Absolutely.
We whatever we had, we ate with so much love. Like I grew up seeing my mom always eating with my dad. Like the day my mom eats before my dad comes back, probably my dad will not eat.
Mm.
So
Yes.
yeah, so
Mm.
she would serve food and then wait for my dad to come back and then they eat as a unit. And
Hmm.
it was something. It was a rich experience actually for me. But when I reached like at the point where I could like do a couple of stuffs, like my dad would never allow me to go during the holidays. That
Right.
was, even it was 2 weeks holidays. I'll either go to the garage to learn, like I used to be really good at motor electricity, and
Hmm.
then very earlier on, like I had like an engineering type of brain, because when I would go there, I would like repair like a lot of stuff. So I would just see like
Hmm.
stuff lying
Hmm.
there. I would just bring
Yep.
them out. And when I could like hawk stuff and sell, I remember I used to sell. I sold basically everything like gato,
Yes, sir. I can agree
mango,
with you on that.
yeah, I used to hawk like books in trucks and stuff. So yeah, it was a
Yeah.
crazy, it was a crazy exciting childhood.
I like the one you just mentioned, the books in trucks one. People will not
Yeah,
understand. During school season, we'll raise some capital, or our parents can raise some capital, and then we,
yeah,
we go to the market. We get a truck and we put like a little board on it, and we buy all
yeah.
these exercise books and pens and all this back to school stuff. Put it on there,
Mhm.
and we're struggling, fighting with between the rain and of course making that money. And it was crazy. It was crazy. Earlier this
It
week,
was.
I used an example of back in the day, where we would go to the bakery. We can ask our parents for a little bit of money,
2001
because it's
five,
holidays. We believe that we have to make
Mhm.
money. So we will go to the bakery. We will buy gâteau. Gâteau is bread. Basically. And they'll give us a bucket. There was those transparent buckets. I don't know if you can remember those transparent buckets. That
Yeah, they used to sell them at 2, 2, 3 or something.
Exactly. So once you
Yeah,
buy a bucket and you spend about 2.5 or something in there, the goal is for you to make 250 francs on each thousand. So that whole
and that's
bucket
that's for the day, the whole
for the
day.
day.
So
Yeah.
so it's like
So you hawk around town from morning till evening trying to sell 25 pieces of gâteau. Now, you got to be careful. Something very important. If you eat one gâteau in that bucket, it's a problem.
you don't eat.
One gâteau you take out to eat, and you have to eat. Now when you eat one gâteau, you've eaten 50 francs, right? You reduce, which means that you've reduced your profit margin to down to 200 francs for every thousand. Now, even if you
Exactly.
don't eat a gâteau and you decide to buy something else that you desire to eat out there, that thing will cost you a solid 50 francs to another 100 francs. That's the reality. Now, which means that you've already gotten into your capital. I remember there are days that I will sell, and by the time I get home, my profit is 50 francs. It's about 100 francs. That's crazy.
Just imagine you want
Be-
to serve somebody and then the gato falls down. Like they are done for the
You're
day.
done for the day. So those were realities that we faced back there. Just that gâteau experience. I don't know. You had the gâteau experience. I had another experience with peanuts, right? Granuts, the local granite.
Yeah.
Now, my mom was a farmer. So what we'll do is that we'll farm during the farming season, and then of course during harvesting season. When I get off school with my brothers, we all meet up in the farm. They harvest. When they harvest, I take the granuts home. The next day, now my older sister will wash the granuts and boil them, and I'll carry them in a big tray like that, and I'll head to the market. And 4 cup granite 100, mommy, buy your granite just like that, back and forth. And at the end of the day, a solid 1.5. Sometimes I'll sell granite for 1.5 is a good day, you know, 800, 900, 700. So we'll gather that money like that. It will amount to something. We can pay school fee with it. We can buy books. We can feed. Our mom
Uniforms
can
and
go to
stuff.
the market and get something for us to eat. Something you said, which I want to agree with you on, is the fact that um, from that perspective, we didn't feel poor. We were excited living like that. You only feel poor when you now compare yourself with other kids in school and all of that. Because remember, there was the dining shed in our schools back then. When you go to school, you don't even think of going to the dining shed. And when you have to go to the dining shed, you have 25 francs where you buy your 5 acra banana. Your 5 acra banana for 25, that's a lot you know. But
Yeah.
then when you met that friend that when you are buying 5 acra banana, they're buying yogurt, and they're also buying scotch egg. Scotch egg and yogurt. Scotch egg back then was about 100 francs, and
A
then those
hundred. It
yogurt,
was a
that's like
hundred.
150 you
Yeah.
spend. That's a lot. So that's a luxury life right there. So I would not want to be part of those kind of, friends with those kind of people, because I cannot meet up to that. And then they depress me. Oh God.
Then I used to remember sometimes you leave from Bengui Road on Chuela. You walk up to Nitop to pick me up. And then we trek from top one to GHS Bamenda on foot, just so that we can save the 100 francs, because normally we usually have our 100 francs
For
for the
bites,
day.
to take a
That,
bite.
I'm talking about lower seat. That was when they were like lower seat. And then we'll
Yes.
keep that sang now to at least ball during the dining, the long break. So that
and
was
and
crazy
and, and
times,
what you're
bro.
what you're saying is very real, because the goal is so that in order for us to eat during the break time in
Yeah, you
school,
have to sacrifice. The opportunity
we,
cost was you trekking, man.
yes, the opportunity cost for us to eat granite sweet and yog and Alaska or something with our friends, in front of the GBHS Bamenda canteen, we had to sacrifice and trek. So we'll leave
Yeah,
and we'll take that
trek
shortcut
like
behind the
12
mortuary
miles.
gate. Yeah,
Yeah,
go
like
down,
about
climb on
12
Paco
miles.
Vita, and we're there in school.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. People will think that this was a while ago. This was when we were in lower seat and upper seat. So we were grown up
Yeah.
people. We were grown
Yeah.
up. We were out there admiring girls too. We wanted to
We're
have
men, bro.
girlfriends. We were hitting on girls. We wanted to impress girls with nothing. With juggling between 100 francs and a couple of 100 francs, back and forth, man. And
That is for me. I feel like that is why being growing up in an environment where you feel where you are empowered to have confidence in yourself is important.
Mhm.
Because actually, I never felt poor like
Hmm.
growing up.
Yes,
I
sir.
actually
Yes,
was,
sir.
yes, I really like when I always look back, because it instilled in me like some pride. Like, I feel like most people know me to be proud rather than like a humble poor person, because yeah, no, for real, because I always felt that my parents made me feel like I was rich, like even if they buy you a shoes, my dad would make sure he emphasizes on the mark, like this is Barson, this, and then like he was always hyping you up, like even when you dress up, you come, make sure you iron your uniform. My uniform was always super ironed, my shoes polished.
Yes, sir.
So and then each morning he's always hyping me up like, my boy, man, I can't believe I'm the one who gave birth to this type of, my God. Like, I always
That is
felt hyped
confidence. Yes, sir.
growing up. Yeah, and that confidence is actually like what has driven me all through life and made me feel like,
Absolutely.
yeah, I can become anything I want.
Absolutely. 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 Yes, sir. I do agree with you on that confidence, because
Mm,
even though it was hard, we never felt poor. Back in the day,
mm,
we had friends that would impress girls with money. But what did we have to impress girls? We dated beautiful
yeah,
women,
yeah.
if I must say. Bro,
For
think
real.
about it. Back then, were we going for any girl that was not some top notch?
No,
Of course
hey.
not. What did we have? We had hope. We had the future. We had faith, right? Only vision that we shared to some of these girls convinced them and convicted them, convinced them and convicted them to stand with us. We Tell me, bro, in lower seat, can you remember ever buying a girl a gift up to 2,000 francs?
Never, never. I
You know,
remember. I remember when I was in overseas, there was a very
yes. Your audio, can you hear me?
friend, and
Yeah, I
she
can hear
said,
you. Go ahead.
yeah, she came. There was this beautiful lady. She came with her friend. The friend stood at the. She stood at the door at the gate door of the class, and then she sent her friend to come with like her backpack. She had like cookies and some stuff inside. So she
Hmm.
brought the friend brought it to me. I said, "This is a gift from this person." And I remember I was like, "Wow!" Like it was actually like an advancement towards me.
Hmm.
And then I remember I was traumatized the whole week, and I was asking my friend Castro. I even remember I showed you the gift. The other time we were sitting on the same bench,
Yes.
lower seat. So I showed you, and then I was asking like, what can I give her? Like, what can I give her? I said, I need just, and then I was so, I was saying I needed just 500 francs so I could buy like there was a biscuit. Like I didn't have 500 francs to just like reciprocate the gift she gave me, and it was crazy, it's crazy, bro. Like,
I know. It's amazing you say that because I think I actually remember that incident, because we actually
yeah,
spent a little bit of time thinking about how to
yeah,
give
the
back
whole,
something to this girl. And of course, we came out with that idea that 500 francs could do it because that
yes,
biscuit will
yes,
speak
that's
a
the
lot.
budget that we made.
Right. Now, in order for us to raise 500 francs that week, it will mean that we foregoing 3 days of our
Of
break if we had to save those 100 francs, forgo
definitely checking.
yeah, just trek to school for 3 days, save up that money together, not just one person, together to buy a biscuit
Because
for her. But then what was amazing is the fact that this girl was not looking at us based off on the financial aspect because the way we carried
exactly.
ourselves, the money factor was not what determined it. They saw a future.
Exactly.
They saw people that were positive. They saw people that were resilient, people that were brilliant, people that were confident, people that were not relegated to a certain back zone because of
Mhm.
circumstances or challenges or whatever it is, you know. So
Mhm.
the reason why I'm wanting us to talk about a little bit of these experiences is so that I want people to understand that um, where we are, we came from somewhere that has been real. The struggle has been real. From Cameroon, things have been tough. Now, let me ask you this question. When you were born, growing up in your home, what
Mhm.
did your parents teach you as when it comes to jobs, life, and all of that? Um, did you come from one of those homes where your parents taught to you that you have to write concours and get into ENS, be a teacher, work for the government somehow, and all of those things?
This is funny. This is my reality. First and foremost, my my parents didn't really have a lot to say about career orientation because most of them were like just working people, like the informal. Of course, my dad was very smart and well-read person, like one
Hmm.
of the most well-read people I've ever met. Like he died with
Right.
like a very huge library, and he would wake up every day at 2 to read. So that's what inspired me a lot to. But that aside, he didn't really actually know what, like my dad always looked at me as somebody who was super intelligent, and he always gave me agency in order to choose. Like even when I was like between lower seed, I did science in in from five, and so
Hmm.
when I was going to lower seed, I told him I was going to do A4, and he didn't argue with me. He asked me why I wanted to do A4. I said no, I don't think the doctors or people from sciences are actually rich in Cameroon, and I don't think I can study abroad based on our financial situation. So I would rather do arts, where economics and maths, where I know even if the worst comes to the worst, I can become a free agent, or I can create employment for myself.
Hmm.
So concerning concours, and it was just something we never I it never came up because it was clear that for you to have a concours in Cameroon you had to bribe
Hmm. True.
based on a lot of stuff. It was just obviously clear, and so it never even really occurred to my parents to suggest that for me. Probably they suggested ENS for my elder sister, which she passed normally and then failed the orals due to, of course, the
Of
obvious
course.
reason.
Hmm.
Yeah, because she was the smartest person in our house, eh, and like she always have like passes those exams and all that, and then it always gets to the point where they interview her, and then something happens funny,
Hmm.
and it's always been like that. But for me, I didn't even I just left from overseas. I went to SWA to do continue with my economics, and even while in SWA, like people were going to write concours and stuff. I just knew like it's just an endeavor to futility. Like it will not
Mm.
amount to
Yeah.
anything. I
Yes,
just
sir.
knew that.
Hmm.
So I gave up on concours really early. I
Hmm.
never dreamed about it. So
I like that you gave up on concourse really early.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
sir. I was actually thinking about that. Not to say that they're entirely wrong or anything. It's just because
Mm,
they just keep you looping, looping in a kind of a place. And I have a friend, one of our close friends who works in the north now.
mm-hmm,
He graduated and from the ENS, of course, with the certifications as a teacher. So he's teaching in a government school there. He's actually the head of department. So I was going over some numbers with him the other day, and the other time, and we realized that how much he makes a month. We total that how many hours he puts in for how much he makes. We added all of that up, and we realized that whoa, he puts in a good 27 to 28 hours of work as a government teacher, and he earns roughly as an HOD, head of department, about 150,000 francs. About $300 for those who are watching over here, a month. And he felt like he could be comfortable with that and all of that. But I'm asking him, no, now let's look at your bills and your projects and everything that you have to do. Let's talk about what's in your mind, what you dreamed of, what you want to achieve, and with this job you have, if you can achieve it. So we started analyzing all of that, and we're realizing that he's living in the negative, you know, because normally before that 150,000 francs hits his hands at the end of the month, it's even finished because he already
yeah.
he uses the
Has
money
debt.
before it even comes.
Yeah.
you know. So I did try to encourage him to pick up extra hours with private institutions and all of that to see if he can generate extra income, because I do believe that an average young person should put in at least 40 hours of work a week, you know. So he did that. When he did that, he doubled that amount, you know, by the same amount. So instead of 150, he moved up to 300,000 francs a month. That
Mm-hmm.
really helped to stretch his income some more. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I want us to get into a very important phase of the conversation, which I'm going to be
Mm-hmm.
asking you a few things about yourself, your experiences, and then, of course,
Okay.
relating it to the reality of what is happening. On the
Mm-hmm.
flyer, we talked about passion and reality. Passion and
Mm-hmm.
reality. What we just shared is the reality of what life had been for us. And then, of
Mm-hmm.
course, growing up, you always had passions. You know, you are a musician by the grace of God. You've traveled a few places in the world for music, and you've graced some big stages like the International Youth Forum over there in Egypt, where you were opportune to present and perform in front of delegates and ambassadors, and even His Excellency the President of Egypt. So tell me about your passion and how. And after you talk to me about passion, and then we're going to see how reality and passion played out for you, and how to
Mm-hmm.
encourage our people who are juggling between reality and passion, so that they can be able to find themselves. Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Uh, this is an interesting one because it is something you have to deal with on a daily. Like every Cameroonian normally relates with it. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's something you have to deal with on a daily because um, where the world is of as of now and where Cameroon is there is actually a big discrepancy. So,
Mm-hmm.
or which means that if you are somebody who is in tune with the world in terms of education or in terms of even skills, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you are found in Cameroon,
Mm-hmm.
um, it is very difficult for you to reconcile the two.
Mm-hmm.
This is to say, okay, take for instance, if I have a training in artificial intelligence and machine learning, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
there are actually no employment
Mm-hmm.
for that um, job description in Cameroon. Or if I'm
Mm-hmm.
a data scientist, or say, um, I'm just talking about fields that I have adventured into and have endeavored to work into. And each time I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at listings on like LinkedIn to get like a freelance hours on, say, data analysis and machine learning, there are literally no jobs available in Cameroon or Central Africa. So,
That's true.
and most of the
Mm-hmm.
jobs that are available, say abroad or in other countries, require visa sponsorships from the company, which most companies don't do.
Don't.
That is
Mm-hmm.
bringing it back to what you were saying concerning reality and passion.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about music, like when I started music, I just I was passionate a lot about it. We grew up playing together and learning together. We had like almost the same mentor for
Mm-hmm.
guitar, and I remember when I recorded my first song. I actually played. I just met with my friend Jiga, who is in the US now,
Mm-hmm.
and I just met him and I told him like, hey, let's record this song. We recorded it the day we were shooting the video. I had like a friend I used to see just sitting around at Akinji's studio. It's called
Mm-hmm.
Telescore. It's a great video director right now. But back then he was just learning, just working behind
Mm-hmm.
at
Mm-hmm.
Akinji, and I told him, bro, I want you to shoot my video. Actually, my video was the first video he shot. Ada Akinji was a personal friend, a personal big brother to me. It's like a big brother to me. I used to go stay with him for some time,
Mm-hmm.
and he mentored me with a lot of stuff. But I didn't want to I couldn't afford him, and I didn't want to like be a burden to him to ask him to shoot me a video. So I met that guy. I was like, okay, I have an idea in my head. This is what I have. That is reality right now. This is what I have in my head, like that I want to do. This is a project I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't have any money. What I'll do is I'll buy paint. I have my friend Metal J. I'll go and paint his studio with paint there, and
Mm-hmm.
then we shoot the video and edit it however you want. That's how
Mm-hmm.
what we did. So I went to Metal J. If you actually watch the video, you see paint on my hand because I didn't even know which paint to buy. Like there was a paint that was water paint and then the paint that was oil paint. So I went and bought oil paint to paint a studio that was supposed to be water-based paint. And then when I painted it, it glued my hand. I tried to wash it out. It didn't wash. So on the video, you can really see there was like paint on my hand. That's to tell you that when you have a passion for something, you can actually reconcile it with reality by finding alternative ways to make that that dream or that idea come to life. So
That's right.
talking about that, I worked with Telesfor and then he did the video and that was later. I just put it out on the internet and that was it, you know. So
Wow.
yeah, so I actually my most of my life has been like that, like just finding someone, getting them to believe in whatever I'm doing, and then getting them to journey with me together to have the experience. And most of the time, none of them always has ever made me feel like I owe them anything. They always feel like they rather owe me for believing in them and in their capacity, and then for journeying with them and for us creating a beautiful experience together. And most of the people I've worked with, we are really great friends, and we always look back at the things we did with nothing, while hungry, and we are always like super
Yes,
excited.
sir.
Yeah.
Awesome,
So
awesome.
mhm.
I
I
let
don't know if I answer if I don't know if I answer your question, or I
no,
tend to.
no, you
Mhm.
answered it, but I must still dwell on it again a little bit. I will have you
Yes,
say a
yes.
few more things on it because this is very, very important. A lot of our people
Mhm,
out there, our peers out there, bro, they're struggling. They're struggling.
mhm,
We have on the chat the Moose. Moose is on there saying hi to you. Moose is one of the
mhm,
people you inspired a lot. In the back
mhm,
in the from years back. We have our own homeboy, Mr. Neri Ken, watching
mhm,
and commenting from Yaoundé. He says, one thing I
mhm.
know about me, Wazih, is his ability to squeeze water from a rock. That's passion against reality right there. That's Neri. That's a homeboy. He
Yeah.
was. That's a whole show on its own with the live in Swan,
Yes.
all that good stuff.
That my brother. Yeah.
I know. So the reason why I'm bringing this up, sir, is because this is too important for us to talk about
Mhm.
passion reality. A lot
Okay.
of our people out there are confused. You know, some even get done with school. You have friends who have master's degrees. You, of course, you have a master's degree as well from
Yes,
Yaoundé,
sir.
and reconciling all those degrees with reality, reconciling passion with reality, can put us sometimes in a state where just become so numb. We're not able to move or look anymore or do anything anymore because the system, everything else has created these different ideas and scenarios where we cannot function anymore. But the goal of this show today is so that we can talk about these things and encourage each other, to encourage people out there, right? So
Mhm,
that people can get out of that box, get out of that cage, get out of whatever is holding them, right there, whatever is keeping them. There is passion and there is reality. You just talked about how you were able to find ways to blend in your passion with what was real. You could not afford
mhm,
a video director. You had a passion. You could not afford a video director and so on. So you resorted in painting his place just to be able to do what you got to do to get your video out. And of course,
mhm,
you got some videos out and you got some work done. Now, I want us to talk
mhm,
to the local persons, okay? Not to people who have seen a path, but people who are in a state of mind where they're confused, right? These are people who, you know how it can feel being at 35 and still living with your parents. You
mhm,
know how it can feel being at the age of 35, you're not married, you don't have a house, you don't have nothing. You have no job, nothing. You have a master's
mhm,
degree, you have a lot of things, there is no job, there is nothing, you know. And you have talents, there's talents. At the same time, you've developed that talent, you've developed skills, but none of these things are paying off, you know. That is a reality where some people find themselves. What should these
mhm.
people do in a defining decade like this? How should they come out and be different? What can they do to get out of uh, that place of, I call it stagnation, or whatever is keeping them bound there, and they cannot make no progress and blaming the systems and all of that.
Okay. For me, this particularly is something that is that I can say a lot on, because first and foremost, when I was going through like university, it was
Mm-hmm.
really difficult studying economics in SWA back then,
Oh yeah.
because I came, yeah, I was actually really good at economics in secondary school. But when I came to SWA, I didn't know anything in French. I actually failed ordinary level French, so that was how bad my French was. So when I got into university and I had offre, amortissement, those words, these are words that there were normal words in economics that I could write an economics exam if it were in English with my eyes
Yes, of
closed.
course. Yes.
But just for the fact that the text paper is in French, everything mathematics, basic mathematics in French, and then it was anybody who went to SWAB between 2008, 2009 till like 2013, 14 can bear witness with me that economics wasn't easy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went through that hell, and then came out, did a professional master still under SWA with a lot of money that my mom borrowed, you know, for over like almost like 1,500,000
Mm-hmm.
for the 2 years, to 1,500,000 for masters in Cameroon, from coming from some a mechanic, you know. So it was a lot. So when I was doing that masters in my mind, I had like, immediately I'm getting out of here, I'm getting a job. Like my mom was confident. I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
Neri's mom also was super confident in the fact that no, we are gonna get
Mm-hmm.
a job right after that. It was obvious. Like of course we knew. Like even when we started, we launched the masters. They showed us on CRTV. They made the
Mm-hmm.
offers about it, so we knew like the future was settled.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to reality, that's immediately slapped right after. Like I had to do it first internship. I went to a bank, first internship. That second internship, they are proposing no payment. I have to leave from Bonamusadi, where I was at that time. I was living with my friend. I have to
Mm-hmm.
leave Bonamusadi to go to work at Bonanjo every day,
Mm-hmm.
without having a single franc. I don't know how I'm eating in Douala. I don't know how I'm paying transport. Nobody's paying me, and then they're more. I man, I was like, and each I'm applying for jobs. Like I used to
Mm-hmm.
apply for jobs. I used to tell my friends, like, if you haven't applied for 500 jobs, don't say you have rejected yet. So
Yeah.
to me, my threshold was always like, apply for at least 500 jobs to expect to get one response.
Yes, sir.
So
True.
if I was never discouraged each time I was applying, and so I was like, see, I'm up to 500 and I don't get one response before, I was say, chai,
Mm-hmm.
it's difficult, you
It's
know. So that was
difficult.
the
Yes, sir.
mindset. Yes, that was the mindset I had when I was applying for jobs. Okay, then there was reality that quickly set in. I'm in
Mm-hmm.
Douala. I'm penniless. I have to eat. I have to find a place to stay.
To
I have
stay.
to still look. Yes, I have to still look decent. I have to still look neat, you know. So there was a point where I went to the studio to record with a friend. I was just accompanying a friend. He was the one recording anyway. So I met another friend through him. Immediately he shared his business idea, that he's a programmer. He wants to program this app, this application, and this is how he's doing. So I told him, yeah, I have a master's degree in economics intelligence and business development. So I'm a prolific business plan developer. I will develop a business model for your
Mm-hmm.
project, and then I'll do the business dev. We'll launch the project. I'll do everything. So immediately the guy was like, okay, tomorrow I'll call you at 2. You meet me at Marche Bonamusadi, and then we go from there. So that's how I left where I was living. I met him at Marche Bonamusadi. He took me to his house. Back then he just came. He just had like his room with a bed. Then
Mm-hmm.
there was another mattress that it was in his parlor. He had nothing. He had a computer. He gave me another computer. I said, okay, this is how we start. And that was how I started
Wow.
freelancing. I like just dreaming in my head. I was like, okay, I get up in the morning. I'm looking. I'm taking my courses back in Fred. I'm revising them. I'm
Mm-hmm.
struggling to establish business plans. Establish this. It's just to come in to say, like, up to now, how
Mm-hmm.
I've been. I've never held on like, an employment for a really long time because I've always been paying my bills by just freelancing as a business developer, and it was from doing that for that guy just believing and jumping on this project that he would tell his other friend, "Hey, this Wazih is the one that does all our business plans and business deals." This other friend will tell the other friend, and that's how I've been paying my bills all through
Mm-hmm.
now in Douala,
Mm-hmm.
which is quite exciting to say
Oh yeah.
that each time you are in a situation, the world has really changed a lot because from what we were instructed and what we were brought up to where it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
The ground under us has changed. Education we receive is quasi useless. You can get that education for free on YouTube.
Mm. On
Every
YouTube.
single thing, yes, every single and Google, every single thing you learn in school, you can actually get it now for free.
Okay.
You understand? So
Yes.
your degree is as useless. I'm sorry, it's useless. Of course, it gives you the confidence. Of course, when I walk into a room and I say I have a master's degree, I feel a little bit confident. Also, I say I have two master's degrees. I feel like I feel good about myself. But apart from that, it's not important. So you have to understand that okay, that ground under you has shifted. The ground where uh, the education was the key to
Mm-hmm.
success has changed.
Has
You
changed.
understand? You are in reality. You are faced with reality now. I can't
Mm-hmm.
honestly tell you the amount of courses I have taken. I don't even put some online. I've taken so many courses. I have a certificate, Google certification in data analysis. I have Python. I have certification in Python. I've done Microverse, which is very tedious web development program.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the certifications are on my LinkedIn profile. I just share them for like for the last time I got a friend. I was just discussing with him. He was like, "Hey, there's this course Oracle database. I think it will be nice for you to." I'm like always excited about knowledge because I never want at any point to be limited to say, okay, my life was limited from moving forward because I didn't have the skills that were required. I've just accepted that okay, the skills that were required when you were studying have changed. But
Mm.
then you being somebody that was always excited about learning, you have fashioned your brain in such a way that you can always learn new skills to adapt to what is needed at the moment. You see.
Mm.
So now I've taken course. Right now I have tabs open on my computer on Udemy for programming, for just
Mm-hmm.
like recording my own songs and like mixing and mastering. I have courses open on Udemy for Oracle database.
Mm-hmm.
So those are courses that I don't know how they will directly affect me, but rather than sitting and saying that I'm unskilled, you see, or not being skilled for the market, I would rather just know those things for no reason. So accumulating accumulating cross accumulating information across fields has given me a unique advantage
Mm.
because I consider myself a polymath in certain domains, in a lot of
Mm-hmm.
domains. Like
Mm-hmm.
there are very few um, things that you talk about that I don't know, that I will
Mm.
not actually
Have
I will
something to
not have
say.
expert, yes, I will not have expert
Mm-hmm.
knowledge on, but I actually know what you are talking about or where you're coming
Right.
from.
Right.
and and I feel like this is the generation we are in. It's a generation where you have to know a little bit of everything to know
Mm-hmm.
what to look for when you need specific
Mm.
information, because
Mm.
there's an information overload uh, in the world right now, right? And you have to just be equipped enough to know, okay, this is how I look for this information. This is how I get these skills. This is how I get this information that is needed within this specific place at this specific time to do this specific activity. And just forget about your crystallized knowledge of whatever you have been studying and just be fluid. That's how you adapt into the environment that is
Mm.
constantly always changing.
That's
You
right.
see, yeah, I feel like there are billionaires being made from podcasting, from YouTube, from a lot of things that nobody thought went to school for, that nobody knew was a career choice in the past. You
Mm-hmm.
see, so it is that is all what the defining decade is to me.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I feel like the defining decade is you being where you are, harnessing the skills that you have and finding opportunities within the environment that you find yourself in while struggling to. Of course, it's always important to put yourself in an environment that unique values your unique capabilities and skills. But
Yes,
then
sir.
again, if you cannot put yourself in that position based on financial situations or probably immigration and whatever, you can always still live decent wherever you are by fine tuning your skills to the environment in which you are. And I feel
I
like
like that.
yes,
I
and I
like
feel
that.
like that is what I get up every morning and I struggle as much as possible. I don't consider I'm not a success. I've not really succeeded in anything I really actually wanted, but I feel like each and every day I'm fine tuning myself closer to that point where those problems that those the things that were problems for me yesterday are no longer problems for me today.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Do you
sir.
understand? So
Yes, sir.
that is what I get up each day. I'm like, okay, I have no part. What am I doing today? What are the skills? That's why I was saying when you said introduce yourself to me, and I told you I cannot introduce myself based on the things that I did yesterday because they are irrelevant.
Hmm.
They are really irrelevant, and that's how I really feel genuinely. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like they are irrelevant. And sometimes we might get into the the ego of wanting to remind people that I did this, I did it, but nobody really cares, and it's irrelevant in today. Yeah, it's
Yes,
true. It's really irrelevant. What are you doing? What are you doing today that is making your today better and is making your tomorrow better? So
that
each
is right.
day, yeah. So each day when I get up, I have a notepad and a pen, and I'm like, okay, that's for today. Uh, Send this email, call this person, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, because I know
Mm-hmm.
those are the things that exercise do this. Those are the things that make my life better for today and compounds to make my life better tomorrow. Compounds to make me more equipped and closer to my future tomorrow. So yeah, that's it.
Wow, wow.
I
Okay,
hope
so
I yeah.
that was good. That was a good butchering on that point. I like it. I want to quickly say that and add that I like a couple of things you said about being diversified in fine tuning your knowledge in not just one particular thing. So you are not limited to just one particular thing, and that's all you can do because the world is
Yes,
changing. Remember
very
just
fast
us 10 years ago versus now, a lot has changed.
has
Do
changed.
do you
Yeah.
know? Do you know, sir, that there are still people, there's still artists in Cameroon that believe that they have to record their song, print it on a CD, and sell the CD? They still
Yeah.
think like that. But they don't
Mm.
understand that things have changed so much now that digitalization has taken over the middleman monopoly of trade, where you don't need marketing companies to have to market your album again for you. You can do that stuff by
Mm-hmm.
yourself. So there is all of that,
Mm-hmm.
and people are not updated to it because they are stereotyped. They are coded with a mindset to remain only in one position and cannot break free from it. And that right
Mm-hmm.
there is a challenge. There is a statement that I always make that a lot of people have buried their success in the cemetery of past achievements, right? If at all there was an achievement, and that yesterday is gone. Let's focus on today for a better tomorrow. Yesterday is
Exactly.
gone. You said something. The past is irrelevant. We're not saying that you forget your past. It's just irrelevant for the now.
Easy.
Focus on
Yeah.
today for a better tomorrow. The marketplace, sir, I don't know how you will relate to this. The marketplace rewards a lot of value added, and value added
Mm.
is a function of your relevance, right? Um, if you right now, let's say there is a Wazih Enterprises. Wazih Enterprises will not even hire a family member to please a family member. If
Family
you are
member
not relevant, if you are not
to the
relevant in the
company.
marketplace, you are useless.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know,
That's
and
that's that that's something I always used to say. You are only as useful in any relationship as the value you provide.
that's that's
It's
the bitter
just
truth.
it's sad, but it's the truth, and that's how I struggle each time to assess my value within any relationship. So sometimes if I have my friends don't call me anymore when they're going out or for activities, I'll be like, oh, if I was actually really as important as I think I am, I would be called. You understand? And sometimes they will
Yes.
call you all the time because they know they will have a better time with you around. You'll be the one poking fun, making all the fun. That's value you are adding
That's
to a
value
relationship.
to the
You
relationship.
understand?
Yes.
Yes, if you are in a relationship, you are not providing money and you are not making someone laugh, or you are not even making them feel better about themselves. I'm sorry. So and it translates across life, and it translates across work, and it translates into every other facet of life. It's like each and every environment you are or you are working in, you have to be valuable and try as much as possible to make yourself indispensable,
Hmm. Hmm.
because that is
Yes, sir.
it's fundamental. It's like fundamental. It's the fundamentals of economics. Like the more value you have, the more your purchasing power, the more people are willing to buy into whatever you're selling. You
Mm.
understand? If you leave
Mm-hmm.
a room and nobody notices your absence, it says a lot about what you were contributing in
Yes.
the first place. You understand? But now
Mm-hmm.
people don't understand that people don't understand that each time you are in an environment, you have to work double, or you have to work above what is expected of you to
Mm-hmm.
to instill your importance and your relevance.
Mm-hmm.
And always make sure you are the one putting the most weight. It sounds counterintuitive, but pulling the most weight makes you valuable, not
That's
just to
right.
the immediate company, but to whoever is watching, and to whoever is seeing, and to whoever will recommend you to the next person that might change your life.
Mm-hmm.
You
That is
understand?
true.
Like the most people that have helped me in life are like second tier links. They are not like people that were linked to me directly. They are people that heard of me from another person.
Hmm.
You understand? And the way in which that other person sold me or talked about me is what actually made them uh,
Mm-hmm.
give me a higher value, or deemed me valuable to be able to
Mm-hmm.
do whatever they wanted to do with me, or endeavor to
Absolutely.
do with me. Yeah.
And that's that
So
relevance right there. That's that relevance.
exactly.
We
Yeah,
have to make
relevance.
ourselves relevant.
Yes, relevance is your skills. One, what skills do you have? What skills are you bringing to the table that no one else is bringing? And
Mm-hmm.
how useful are those skills? Relevance is how in tune in time you are in terms of your knowledge base of whatever you're doing, in terms of your contribution in every relationship. You're always assessing, like, am I giving value to this relationship? If it's your love relationship, if it's your work relation, am I giving value? Am I adding something to this
Mm.
person's life?
Mm-hmm.
Am I adding something to this
To
person's
this
life? Am I
person's
adding
life,
something to
yes.
this company? Am I adding something to this society?
Mm-hmm.
And if you can do that, I feel like not only will you have satisfaction, because I have to reiterate, success is not about money. It's not always about money. I feel like we just chase money because we are afraid of what
Society.
life is. Yeah, no, what life is without money. So
Oh, okay.
most humans are more pain aversive than enjoyment oriented. I don't know if it makes
Mm-hmm.
sense, but
Yes.
I feel like people are not really chasing happiness. They are running away from pain and suffering.
Hmm.
So if you can put yourself in society in a way that you are relevant in society, in the groups, in your
Mm-hmm.
local church, you are relevant in your local veteran club, you know, it gives you a sense, like, it's like fundamental economics,
Yes.
Maslow's
Yes.
pyramid of needs. Like
Mm-hmm.
once you are above the point where you can take care of your food and housing and all, you move to the next phase where you up to the point of self-actualization, where you are looking up to, okay, am I relevant to society? Am I contributing to this
Mm.
company? Am I contributing to do I have love? Do people really love me? Do people care about me? And all of that now is a product of how much value you
Mm.
can give to people. All of that is
That
a
is
product
right.
of how much worth you have created in society. Like, how much are you giving back? How much
How
are
much are
you
you?
loving?
Mm.
Yeah, and it's just, I feel like that if you can solve that, you'll be happy. in
You'll be
life, and
happy.
you'll be accomplished. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. We just want to be happy. We just want to be loved. Absolutely, yes, sir, yes, sir. I definitely agree with you on that. Relevance, we have to be relevant. Now, you talked about fine tuning, right? So, which means
Mm-hmm.
that to the local person, we are now speaking to the local person, that local man in Boya, that local lady
Mm-hmm.
in Kumba Market selling oranges and so on. We can
Mm-hmm.
thrive even while doing those activities.
Yes, sir.
There is no saying that because you're selling bananas beside the road, you cannot succeed. You cannot build a big house from it. You can't. You gotta just
Mm-hmm.
fine tune and get knowledge. Now, the reason why you're
Mm-hmm.
probably not succeeding selling bananas and oranges beside the road is because you've been doing the same thing for 5 years. How about you study methods of selling bananas on the road in a much better and advanced way, since it's a defining decade, to make the business even more successful, right? Bro,
Mm-hmm.
we can brand the orange business beside the road and it becomes highly successful if you brand it well, if you package it well. Yeah, talk to me. I
I
think you
feel
have something.
I feel like I feel like adding to what you are saying is this: the key to to excellence within every single field, no matter how small it is the ability to scale it.
Hmm.
Now, yes, it's the ability to scale whatever you are doing. So there is only so much you can sell gato for 2,000 and make a profit for. No matter how
Mm-hmm.
fast you, no matter how well dressed you are in the
Mm-hmm.
morning, no matter how fast a salesperson you are, you will just sell gato for 2,000 and you only make 250 francs of profit.
250.
But now,
Yep.
yes, but now being able to scale is what, knowing that okay, I can sell this amount within this specific amount of time. What if I double my capital and
Mm-hmm.
double my time input and then change the method in which I was selling, or I affiliate
Right there.
this store, and this store to supply them
Mm-hmm.
gateau, or I struggle to go to football matches very early to say okay, I have gateau for you people to sell, and then before I go back to the bakery and take gateau now for the market. That is
Right.
what scaling is, and it translates to in a larger scale in whatever you're doing, because there's only so much hours within the day. There's almost only so much energy you can
Mm-hmm.
exert in whatever you are doing. So
Right.
sometimes telling people to work hard or put taking more hours is nice, but I feel like the switch comes when you can actually scale what you can do, outsource part of it, delegate some part of it, rebrand, bring it online as a business, and market it, create deliveries. You understand? Like, I mean,
Yes, sir.
building on top of what you have as a business and expanding it. That's business development 101. And I feel
Scaling.
like to the
I
yeah
think.
to the local yeah
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was
to
about
the
to say
local
that. I
it's
think that
like mhm.
that
I'm
you're
sorry for
absolutely very
interrupting.
correct. No, no, you're good. You're absolutely very correct in that. That's why I wrote it down there on the screen. The key to excellence in every field is your ability to scale whatever you're doing.
Mhm,
Because,
mhm,
like we said, you talked about people being diversified in their thinking, and fine
mhm,
tuning their thinking, their plans, and all of that. If you are
mhm,
only selling gateau in the bucket within the same routine, you only be like that, and you only make that much, and you only earn like that, even 10 years
mhm,
later. But then,
mhm,
if you can outsource, like you're saying, think out of the box and scale and say, okay, now I want to sell a bucket of gateau within the first 1 hour of the day. How do I achieve this? And then,
mhm,
like you said, what if I just meet these intercache guys that are playing early morning and get them this
mhm,
gateau for breakfast, and you meet them?
mhm,
Now you're already thinking that that bucket of gateau will be consumed by two teams. At least it's a
mhm.
minimum of 11 players on each side. That's 22 people. That bucket of gateau is
Yes.
done. You get it done and you're back to the bakery. So, but that by the end
Yeah.
of the day, that's already 3 rounds you probably have gone for the day, and you've made
Mhm,
triple the profit. And then, of course, there are
mhm,
other ways of scaling, of course, and making that business even grow and develop even more. Likewise, same
mhm,
with every other job, even people who are into talent acquisition and
mhm,
performance, musicians, artists, graphic designers, and so on.
mhm,
Let me use an example of a graphic designer. I don't, to be honest with you, so I don't design with graphic designers most in Cameroon. Why? Because of their perspective to graphics, right? I'm too big on creativity and change, which means that
mhm.
if you design my graphics and it looks the same 5 times in a row, I'm gonna change you. No matter how cheap you are,
Yeah.
I'm gonna walk away. Because you cannot keep me. So as a business owner, how do you retain your clients, or as whatever you're doing, how do you retain your clients? By
Mm-hmm.
doing what is necessary in terms of your product quality and all of that, and creativity in keeping them and so on. The reason why I'm
Mm-hmm.
sharing all of this is so that the local person on the street can think about what you just said, scaling. How do I scale my business? How do I stop folding my arms, chilling, and blaming the system, blaming my aunties and uncles for not sending me capital, or blaming my brother who
Mm-hmm.
is in America for not supporting my business? How do I
Mm-hmm.
outsource things? How do I do to make my business a better one? That is the defining decade, which means that in Cameroon, sir, we have millionaires. We have millionaires in the future if they can start now and scale down their businesses like you're talking about.
Exactly. Exactly. And I feel like that is where the knowledge, the aspect of you continue, like that is where continuous learning comes into place.
Mhm.
Because when you are somebody who is oriented towards the future, and you have like a specific, well defined goal where you are working to,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
You would have to look for all the information possible to be the best within that field. I remember when we started learning guitar, we would always struggle to get books. I would go to Pastor Maro and get books that he actually wrote. Like, he has a lot of books that he wrote with his hands. It was never typed.
Mhm.
It was like, I mean, notes on jazz,
Mhm.
on acid jazz. That is this thick, that he wrote with his hand, really clear, you can read. And I
Mhm.
photocopied all of them. I still have copies of those books that I photocopied. And
Mhm.
I've never even been able to go through all of them, because it was a lot of material. Even my brain, that was too advanced for my brain. But I
Mhm.
remember challenging my brain with that advanced knowledge made, like, even the small concepts that I understood, whenever I could play around with, like, church and stuff, the jazzy stuff, like, everyone was like, wow, your acoustic jazz is really nice, and
Mhm.
it's good. You automatically stand out just by seeking additional knowledge, no matter how
Mm.
advanced it is, no matter what knowledge does is it opens your mind to new possibilities, to new ways of seeing things. And it comes back to books and to reading and all, because reading is accumulated experiences from many other people, from many people who have traveled, from many people who have had a lot of experiences, and it gives you, and who have done what you have done, and what you're trying to do, and where you're trying to go, and all that is accumulated within a short book of 300 page or 150 pages, and
Mhm.
that is what gives you the ability to see beyond where you are. You
That
see,
is true.
that's what gives you the ability to be able to scale, not only in terms of what you are doing or what you are selling, but in terms
Mhm.
of you see beyond what you're doing at the moment, and see how you can plow back or reinvest whatever you are doing at the moment into wherever you're
Right.
going to in the future. Yeah.
Absolutely. Wow. Wow. I do agree with you on that, man. And that is very helpful. So, which means that basically, conclusively on this, we are telling the
Mhm.
layman on the street to not be stereotyped in the head,
Yes. Yes.
to think, to read
Think.
materials. Read
Mhm.
materials on what to, oh God, I keep wanting to say this. Read materials
Mhm.
on not just selling oranges, but selling oranges and making orange juice.
Yes.
Read material.
Owning the
If you
chain.
already, yes, owning
If
the
you are saying,
chain.
yeah, yes, knowing
Yes.
where they sell oranges in the bush market, from loom, where you're
Mhm.
buying, buying, knowing how to buy right from loom to bringing it to Boya, to
Yes.
being a reseller, and then moving a step forward to maybe making orange local, or learning how to make orange juice and selling local orange juice, and
Yes.
using that knowledge of that supply chain to be able to, okay, so being the one supplying freshly squeezed juice to Santa Lucia, to
Mhm.
others, is just that.
That's right. Now think of it this way: that mommy boy that is selling those oranges is already buying from the source. So mean that she goes
Mm-hmm.
to loom in the bush and buys the oranges. So she buys from the source. But why is it that she does not think about owning all the farmers there? Because that's what I would do. I want to be the sole supplier of oranges now in town. So I go there,
Yeah.
I sit on the one-on-one meetings with the suppliers of the farmers. I say, okay, this is
Mm-hmm.
what I bring to the table. These are some contractual agreements. This is how it will benefit you and me. So that I now become the sole purchaser of their oranges. And now,
Orange. You
right now,
control
you talked
the
about
market.
exactly you're controlling the market. Right there, also, I'm studying, right? Studying to make myself better and all of that. So what am I doing? Why doing that? I'm also studying to make sure that can you hear me? The
Yeah, I
network
can
was
hear you now. Yeah, yeah,
okay.
network was. Mhm.
Okay. So I was saying that why at the same time doing all those arrangements to purchasing those oranges, you are studying, you are online studying so that you can obtain
Mhm.
your I don't know, here in America we call it the Food and Drug Administration. It's a certificate for you to be able to sell food and all that stuff. In Cameroon they probably have a name for it, right? You're studying to
Yes.
have that license. It's probably going to take
Mhm.
you a couple of months. It's done. The certification is done. You come before we want to see you now the sole supplier and producer of orange juice in the entire northwest region. From there now you
Mhm.
start expanding into the littoral, into Yaoundé. Before we want to see you are a multi-billionaire because you put your head to work. So rather than blaming the system, rather than blaming the government, blaming family members and all of that for not supporting us, Wazih is saying
Mhm.
that let's put our thinking to work. Let's think out of the box, scale our business, and outsource as much as we can. Go for it. It doesn't cost much because with a capital of even that 10, 15,000 that you buy those oranges, you can grow from there. You just need to have the whole idea. You need to think advance, and every other thing is going to align. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for that excellent analysis, sir. We're going to go to the last thing really quick before I let you go for the day. And that last thing is going to be thriving in an emerging nation, right? The case
Mhm.
study
Mhm.
is Cameroon. And of course, we have people that will be watching us or are watching us from other parts of the world, and that these nations are still emerging as well. And even to some people that are already in a developed nation like ours, how to thrive. Because it was going to shock you that I have people that leave Cameroon and come here and they are Cameroonians. What do I mean? They leave Guneku, come to the United States, and they never change from being Gunekians. I don't know if you know what I'm saying. You
Uh,
walk into their home, they're not open to eating any other thing apart from what they grew up eating. You bring them Italian food, they're not going to even attempt it. They don't try different dishes. They don't even explore. They code their minds to what they have been used to. And that is a fundamental problem right there. So how do we thrive in the world today? We're not going to limit it to an emerging nation as well because we how should an individual, let me put it that way, because now it's a subjective something. How should an individual thrive in an emerging world in this defining decade? With the case study of Cameroon, I want your focus to be in Cameroon because I want us to speak to our brothers and sisters who think that they could only rely on concours, who think that they could only rely on whatever their parents laid out to them, or who think that they will not be able to succeed again because the government is corrupt or is bad.
okay. Um, as a youth who is involved in a lot of youth entrepreneurship and have developed a lot of business plans for a lot of friends who have started businesses in Cameroon and who have started companies. We always sit down and we have this conversation on how how can we be the next billionaires in Cameroon. So
Mm,
what is it that we can do that can change that can actually put us within the scope of where we provide so much value where it's inevitable that we become billionaires.
mhm,
And we always throw around the different sectors that have a lot of potential
mhm,
right now, and the same information keeps coming over and over. Of course, we live in a world where right now there's the advent of machine learning, new cryptocurrency. There's like a total paradigm shift in terms of the internet, like the web 3, and a lot of stuff that are changing technologically. And as a youth in Cameroon, you have to be attuned to that information. Okay, what is
Mm-hmm.
happening as concerning climate change, and if
Mm-hmm.
whatever company or whichever company you are trying to invest in or create, how does it align with the global agenda on climate change, the global
Mm-hmm.
agenda on sustainable energies and all, and whatever. Those are the information that you have to know in general, where
Mm-hmm.
artificial intelligence is right now, and how is it you can harness it to solve your specific problems, and which problems have already been solved in the world that you no longer need to solve. You just need to copy and implement. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going a little bit broad to bring,
Yes, sir.
so I can bring the idea. This is very important, because I feel like you knowing where the world is and where the world is evolving to gives you a good base on how now to create a company, or how to create an endeavor, or how to prepare yourself for an emerging Cameroon.
Mm.
That is important. Okay. Now, in Cameroon, there's fundamental problems that have not been solved yet, which are very important problems. First, first problem that we have in Cameroon is energy. Of course, the energy is comparatively is better than a lot of countries, but it has not been solved.
Mm-hmm.
But a more important problem in Cameroon that when it will be solved will lead to a lot of development is payment,
Mm-hmm.
ease of payment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How do you become a profitable YouTuber in Cameroon without people in Cameroon who are your core fan base being able
Mm-hmm.
to pay you?
Right.
YouTube in Cameroon, the views in YouTube in Cameroon is not monetized at the same count
Mm-hmm.
as views in America. You
Right.
understand? So fundamentally, there's a problem of payment. Okay, if I start a podcast and I have my audience base fundamentally in Cameroon, and I create a Patreon account or a GoFundMe account.
Mm-hmm.
How does the average person in Bamenda listening to me uh,
Mm-hmm.
pay me for the content or support me for my content? So there is a fundamental problem of pay, and it comes from a long generation of uh, us being unbankable. Not saying unbankable, but unbanked, because people actually um, have like the Njangi houses where they contribute money, so they are actually really bankable. But
Mm-hmm.
now, are there? Yeah, how does that means of that financial system? How does it contribute into an emerging future? I'm saying a lot of things in despite the short time, because these are key things that change a country. If a
Mm-hmm.
country doesn't have a system that is based on credit, a system that permits you to be able to build value from your savings and from your assets, and being able to translate that value into new endeavors in terms of like a mortgage or so. Of course, people who are there are some few banks in Cameroon that permit you to get real loans. I mean, real loans that can invest in your project, or that can get you to put like 20% down and then invest it. But I don't think that there is any that I know of, actually. But the fundamental problem in Cameroon is payment and banking. We don't have
Mm-hmm.
any banking institution. We have savings institutions. We don't have any credit institutions that actually permit people. Of course, there
Mm-hmm.
are the credit and the microfinances that are struggling, but they don't have the capital to be able to sustain any real projects.
Right.
You understand? And for a country to emerge, those are problems that you have to solve.
Mm-hmm.
Energy, um, uh, energy payment,
Mm-hmm.
decentralization of information.
Mm-hmm.
Decentralization of information is making information available to the common person. There is no
Mm-hmm.
centralized database where every project that is taking place in Cameroon is being hosted on. There's no centralized database in Cameroon where all the projects that have been submitted to the Ministry of Scientific Research and Innovation are hosted on. There's no centralized database in Cameroon where problems that have already been solved in Cameroon will not be solved because people are not aware that that problem has been solved. You understand? So there's no digitalization of information in Cameroon. Those are the fundamental stuff that, if they are solved, it will accelerate emergence. It will accelerate. It will accelerate the local entrepreneur. You see, because at one point during my master's degree, I went to the Ministry of. It's not. I actually went to the Ministry of Scientific Research and Innovation first. We had one madam there, Madame Madiez. I think she's of late there. She showed me a couple of documents. Are you actually aware that there's rice in Cameroon that can grow on the hills of station hill without like water, low water, rice that grows in the desert that are researched that yeah, there are a lot of there's a lot of advanced research on crops that grow in Cameroon, so that problems that have already been solved by the Ministry of Scientific Research and Innovation, that the government has already disbursed funds to get those problems solved, but nobody knows about them. Nobody knows if those things have been solved. Nobody knows. There's no information about them. You know, I also went to the Centre de Formalité des Petits et Moyennes Entreprises. It's an institution in Yaoundé where it's a center where they formalize like small and medium-sized enterprises, and it's actually really easy to start a small and medium-sized enterprise in Cameroon. Actually, are you actually aware that there is a bank in Cameroon called the Banque de PME, which is like Banque de Petits et Moyennes Entreprises, which is bank for small and medium-sized enterprises, and the bank was specifically created to finance startups without capital, who will show their project. The bank will they were supposed to have project evaluators that will evaluate the project, look at the business plan, look at the business model, view if it's going to be a profitable business or not, and then determine if the bank will invest in it. How the bank invests, the bank gets a percentage. It was a bank that was created. It was created. The CH was at I think it was around, if not post central, but I read the Ministry of I think it was higher education. It was around somewhere around there. So those are things that already existed in Cameroon. Of course, there's the corruption that happened, like within the people that are employed there. And if the bank is actually doing what it's supposed to do, you understand?
Yes, sir.
Agriculture is a very broad field in Cameroon. That a lot is happening, a lot is changing on the way on which farming is done. I'm very optimistic. I'm a very optimistic person about the future of Cameroon, and about the future of the youth, and about the things we can achieve as a nation. And for us to get there, we have to review fundamentals. Payment system. Okay, how I have friends who are passionate about entrepreneurship, who have done a lot. You know, I've seen people who have taken alternative routes which they wouldn't have done, because they have literally tried everything possible to implement, to create a solution, and they haven't succeeded. Like, I had a friend who created an application for home deliveries for food stuff, and he was supposed to work with local restaurants, and then have bikes that would deliver those stuff. He had everything, platform created everything. He created a market application that solved the problem that Jumia couldn't solve as a drop shipping company in Cameroon. And a lot of stuff like that. But the fundamental problem of payment, problem, yes, decentralization of information, and the reluctance of people to adapt to these changes.
Yes.
You see, so I'm speaking mostly to the entrepreneurs now, in terms of like getting them to know, like, okay, there are really a lot of fields. Agriculture in Cameroon is still barren. I have a friend in Djibouti. He sent me a project of him, like hydroponics. I didn't know anything about hydroponics, so he sent me a business project of him working on hydroponics. I looked into that. I was like, wow, People are growing
Oh,
vegetables
wow.
just in water, in like water-based solution, like in-house everything. You don't need to have a farm. You don't need to have, there's a lot, and then you can really grow like high-value vegetables in a small scale that would actually be really profitable without actually owning a farmland and stuff. So there are really a lot of technology. There are a lot of cutting-edge technologies that are happening. In our generation. People just have to know, okay, this problem has been solved. This problem has been solved. Let me link this solution and create this new solution, and
Mhm.
boom, you have an emerging company. Of course, theoretically, saying it theoretically is easier for somebody like me, but
Mhm.
I come from a business development background, so that's how my brain actually sees things. I see more of solution. I see more of developing businesses. I see more of developing individual ideas rather
Mhm.
than, you understand. So that's
Yes,
the
sir.
perspective of which I'm standing for. So I feel like people should be more optimistic about the future, find solution, identify problems, go on, look for solutions that are already existing. You don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be an Einstein.
Mhm.
Implement those solutions, and
Yes.
you are set. You are set. And Cameroon is the groundwork for Cameroon is. I mean, the big works, of course, structurally is for the government to 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 plan infrastructures for the countries, for the government to plan on road networks and stuff for us to be able to emerge. And but I feel like every economy is built by the private sector, and private sector empowerment is important. And for us to get there where we can empower the private sector, tech people should solve payment. Engineers should solve electricity. And if you can solve those two things in Cameroon, Cameroon can be like New York within 10 years,
Wow.
or way better, or be an emerging city.
Wow.
That's it.
Wow. 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 Man, that's very deep and that's very real. Now, what you just said, you talked about the lack of access to information and so on. Is it
Mhm.
is it something that is preventing this, or is it the people that are not opportune to get this information, or is it that the government does not make this information available for people to have access to? Because I think that people want to do work. People probably want to work. People want to be better. They want to better up their lives. And if you are
I
talking
feel I
about these
feel like
opportunities,
I feel
yes,
like
sir.
it's easier for people to make excuses than actually to do work. So it's easier for someone to say the government is not doing anything than to actually look at what the government has done.
Has done. Okay.
Yes, permit me say this, right? Cameroon is
Mm-hmm.
a very corrupt country.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
But Cameroon is one of the most forward-thinking countries you ever meet. Let me elaborate on this point. Yeah, no, I
Okay.
know it's controversial, and it sounds like, what the fuck is he saying? Sorry, excuse my language, but this is why I'm saying this, right? Cameroon employs the most intellectuals in its public functions, and even those who go through a NAM, right? The training they get. Trust me, the civil servants in America, I'm not sure they go through that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
civil servants in Cameroon are really educated. The average Cameroonian is really educated. People work in the ministries. Most of our ministers are professors, are
Mm-hmm.
former professors.
Mm-hmm.
That's something. Even the president of Cameroon is a very educated person,
Mm-hmm.
which means that they are aware of all the solutions that are being implemented across the world. And they, during their proposals at the National Assembly, or if anyone actually cares to look, or this, they actually get professors and PhD holders to write them projects that they present to the government and get money. Most of the times they don't implement the project, they'll embezzle the money, but those projects are up to date and way more advanced than you can ever think. Just at
Hmm.
one point, go online, and download even any project that is written in Cameroon, a project for the government, and you see
Hmm.
the level of data analysis and graphs and studies
Hmm.
that goes into those projects. I'm talking like, as somebody who has a background in statistics, and I know when people use data to bullshit, and I know when data is backed by real information.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and I look at those documents. I have a lot of those documents that I download, and I look at them. I'm like, this country is actually way more advanced than we think. I feel like the people are behind. That's why I was insisting on government on the government investing in the decentralization of information, because okay, there is that information. Is that information digitalized? Is that information easily accessible to the local person? I know the government is doing a lot now in terms of decentralizing, making taxation easier for the common man. Like you can go online and declare your taxes and get your tax everything done at the comfort of your home. But most people will still prefer to go and pay other people. Those are really like, there are a lot of stuff that the government is struggling to digitalize right now, but it's not doing enough in terms of those researches, those projects that they host, those projects that they'll do. They submit the projects in order to get money to rationalize to the World Bank. Trust me, the World Bank is financing Cameroon every year in the region. Do you think those projects were not solid and the World Bank will finance them?
Absolutely not.
Those projects are solid. They are done by professors that are international professors that gives courses in international universities. You understand? So
Yes.
now, how do we translate now that research, that information into real groundwork? That is where the problem is. The problem is no longer at the level of research. How do we make that information that those people that are well up at doing that have done? Cameroon is a theoretical country where people that just go to school for theory. But now, how do we translate now that theory into actual products, into actual work done, value added? That is where the problem is. So the decentralization is of information is very important. Payment. How do people pay for that service? Payment is the most important problem we have in Cameroon. You can imagine the amount of change that just mobile money brought, and it's a very rudimentary payment, very limited payment system. It's very limited as a payment system. I cannot go online and want to buy a shoe, I have to buy 3 times the price. I like to wear a simple Zara shoe, I have to buy 3 times the price because I have to buy someone who is in America, they ship it and you understand? Drop shipping is quasi impossible in Cameroon because of payment. You see. But those are simple things that I feel like if the government and the private sector can solve payment, decentralization of information, making information, making us not be repeating the same thing. Let's build. America, there are no geniuses in America compared to Africa. Trust me. We go to school in GHS Bamenda with with all the difficulty, and when we still go to international universities, we are able to compete with them. You are telling me, I don't know. I feel like Cameroon has a lot of geniuses. You understand? Comparatively, we have the problem of we don't build on information that is decentralization of information means that what Julius has solved, I will not need to solve again. I just need to build on what Julius has solved. And then the next person that comes to the next generation uses my solution and this other person's solution to create a whole new avenue for prosperity for the country. And that, I feel like that's the fundamental of all our problem in Cameroon.
Wow. Man, that's a powerful one. That's a powerful submission. Let me use some law terms. There's submission right there. I love it. Now, but still, while in as much as I want to conclude the show, you have to talk about the individual point of the individual perspective to this, right? Because now this is the fundamental problems with the country itself that the nation needs to solve, the government has to solve, or the collective effort of solving this problem of energy payment system. You said the payment system is an important problem, So I think that you've handled that pretty well. Now talk to the individuals. What should the individual now be doing while hoping? Because an individual cannot solve this problem. I'm pretty sure you have friends that are tycoons, that are rich, very rich, wealthy, that individually cannot solve this problem, right? And then we also have the very poor people who are really broke down there, at the bottom of the chain, who want to thrive, but also are faced with fundamental problems of emerging. So talk from an individual's perspective, both the poor man, the middle class, and of course the upper class.
Okay. I feel like we have been talking to the average Cameroonian all through the show, but I would like to still go back. I'll still like to go back to it as a point of conclusion. Develop yourself as an individual, and I feel like the only way you can shift from one point A to point B, right, is getting the skills that can move you from point A to point B. How to communicate, how to. Okay, let me give you a simple explanation. If you are the best carpenter in Bamenda, right, and you have no catalog that shows your work, and you don't know how to you don't know the technical terms to tell me how good you are in your job, or you don't know how to sell your job, to sell your competencies to me, right? Let's say your communication skill is at 2 and your competence as a carpenter is at 10. Do you think I'll consider you as a on 10 carpenter or as a on 2 carpenter? You get the point? So
yeah,
being able to communicate and being able to sell or to sell your skill is a very important skill. Sometimes it's more important than the skill itself, especially in the world where we are. It's controversial what I'm saying. It's controversial what I'm saying, but most people that are at the top are bullshitters. There are people who, yes, there are people who are able to talk more than they can do. And so people don't want to think, people don't want to find out what you can do. People want to believe what you say you can do before now finding out later. And so having the ability to tell someone exactly what you can do in the terms that are relevant to the question in which he's asking gets you 10 steps ahead of someone who is more equipped than you, more skilled than you, but doesn't know how to sell that skill. So first thing as an individual you have to learn is how to communicate, how to sell yourself, how to put yourself, how to market the skills that you have. Marketing the skills that you have is more important. It's even more important than just having the skills. Everybody can have skills.
Marketing
That
the
is part
skills
of
that you have.
that is part of scaling. And marketing is communication. Communication comes in different forms. It could be visual communication, it could be auditory, it could be in terms of your mannerism, it could be, in how you work, with the people that are around you and how you impact them, and then they do the marketing for you, or they leave a word on your behalf. So I feel like as an individual, that is fundamental start skill. Number 2, look for skills that are relevant to the ecosystem that we are in and learn. It's not too late. I'm turning, let me not say my age, but I'm really old, quite frankly. But in my brain, like each day I wake up, I have no problem starting from zero. I consider everything I know like nothing. I have no problem learning a new skill that will give me money. I have no problem, like every day. I don't people in my life are always telling me like, tu fais quoi tous les jours, tu es en train d'apprendre, tu apprends quoi tous les jours, tu es en train de prendre les cours. I'm like, you don't understand where I am. You understand? I need to be relevant in my society. I need to be relevant to the people that are around me. I need to be relevant in the world and to the world in which I am evolving into. And for me to do that, I have to always constantly upskill.
Awesome.
I have to upskill as an individual. And
Now,
do
these individuals you're talking about, with all these good nuggets you're giving them, is there some contribution they can do in solving the fundamental problems of energy payment systems as well in Cameroon?
Yes, I feel there's a fundamental law in there's a law in there's something Estabos said in geography. I'm sure you know. Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yes.
There is that. There is another law in economics. Now, that where there is demand, a supply emerges. You see now, there is a demand for payment. Everybody knows there's a difficulty. That's why you see companies like Flutterwave racking up rounds of funding And I don't know, there's a scandal that is going on, but that's by the way. But that's where you see companies like M-Pesa in Kenya and in other countries emerging, because they are solving the African payment problem. And the African payment problem is different from the European payment problem. You understand? Okay. You cannot want to solve payment problem. Look at like the advent of the mobile phone in Cameroon. We didn't come like America where we had the wired tape phone. Phone moved into the one that you just remove it from the receiver. To we skipped all of that to the mobile phone directly. And the African adapted more to the mobile phone, and same as India. And we are the highest consumers of Android and other mobile phones presently. That is how the entrepreneurs of today and the individuals of today have to see the payment. They don't have to think of the payment as what is already working in the Western society, because the societies are fundamentally different. Not just different in terms of our consuming patterns, but anthropologically and sociologically is different. So if you are thinking of a payment system in Cameroon, think of it in that direction. That okay, the ecosystem is different. What are they used to? What can we adopt into their way of life that they are used to, that will make their payment easier and enable transaction? Because economics is transaction, value added is transaction. You understand?
Everything is
Economics
transaction.
Yes, economics. Every economy is built on transaction, and if there is no ease of transaction, that economy can never evolve, no matter what you invest, no matter what. You understand? If you cannot make it easier for me to get this TV station as fast as possible, Amazon is the biggest company, because it can get you what you order in 5 hours or less, or 2 hours or 10 minutes. Do you understand? Because they are shortening transaction time, and the highest thing that can shorten transaction time is payment. And as individuals are the people that build these companies. Individuals, I have a lot of friends that are working on payment systems solutions, but I feel like most of them are still thinking, they are coding their apps and still thinking of it as what has worked in other countries. We have to think about that, and then think about what is adaptable to
what will
Cameroon.
work to Cameroon. Wow.
Adaptable to Cameroon. And if there's that ease of movement of capital from point A to point B, movement of liquidity from one hand to another, transactions will go. People will become richer very fast. Everybody will trickle, and it trickles down. It just trickles down.
Yeah, it's a trickle down effect right there.
Yeah, trust me. If there's one billionaire in Cameroon, know that there will be at least 800 millionaires that will be made along the way of him becoming a billionaire.
A billionaire, that's right.
Yes, it's just wealth trickles down, because you cannot amass wealth without giving value, and as you're giving value, the multiplier effect automatically sets in, and everybody gets rich along the process.
That is very true, man. The trickle down effect. Wow. Powerful one right there. So would you say that with all these, like your friends and all the people who are developing all these ideas, and of course with the hope that they'll adapt it to a situation like that of Cameroon or wherever country they are, looking at what they have going on, should they now do petitions to the government into approving this payment system? Because some nations too are very centralized, where the government becomes the central body that has to authorize those things, especially when it comes to the financial system. Like in the situation of Nigeria, there is the federal bank, right? I think recently I used to send money for business in Nigeria, and so one time I was trying to send money, and I sent the money and the person couldn't receive the money. Why? Because the federal bank of the federal central banking system in Nigeria decided that Nigerians will only receive money from the US in the US dollars. So they have to go and create subsidiary accounts that are only in US dollars in Nigeria. So they receive the money in US dollars. They can withdraw it in the Naira, but they'll receive it in the US dollars. The goal was for them to maintain the value of their currency somehow. I don't know exactly what they were trying to achieve with that. And that's been the situation. So there is that situation where the government or that central authority has to approve all of this. So should we now, as individuals, petition to the government or sign some online petition and have millions of people respond to it? We want this. We're tired of dealing with solo organizations or monopoly powers like the MTNs and the Orange who are able to manipulate us and get money from us, and we don't have a choice because it's the only source we have. But here is a petition for us to have a free payment system that can help us and save us from this crisis.
Okay, I feel the strength of every country is based on its ability to manipulate its monetary policies.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Looks like we lost Wazih there for a second. Wow, powerful presentation. While he's doing what he's doing, uh,
Nous ne ressentirons plus de douleur. On n'aura plus jamais peur de rien. Au monde de l'amour que nous partageons, toute cette haine s'envolera. For peace, for love, we are back again.
that is Wazih for you guys. Wazih in the International Youth Forum in Egypt. That was him singing and performing there. While we're trying to see if we can get him back into the show, we've just been talking about the defining decade here, what you have to do to be able to be successful. The next few years are very crucial. The next, even the next few weeks, months, and of course, until the end of the decade is very, very important for you. Don't sit and fold your arms and wait for some miracle money to appear in your account or some miracle to happen for you to get rich. No, you have to work. The principle I believe in is that you work first and then you earn. You work and then you earn. So I want to encourage you all listening to myself and Mr. Wazih now to take all these nuggets that we're giving you. Whatever you are doing, don't think normal, don't think small, don't limit your thinking, and don't just sit and relax and chill. You sleep too much, you're wasting so much time. There is so much downtime, and you're wasting this downtime for nothing. It is not going to benefit you in any way. There is so much you can do with the skill set you have. There is so much you can do with the knowledge that you have. There is too much that you can do with the ability that you have. Believe in yourself, don't believe in a system. Believe in yourself, don't believe in a person. Believe in yourself, don't believe in any circumstance. Okay, step out there and forge on. There are days that you'll meet walls. Don't let those walls break you. Break through them. The days that you meet potholes, don't be scared. Jump over them. When you meet wells, you're not going to die inside that well. Climb over them. When you meet different challenges and difficult circumstances, don't give up on yourself. Crush them. Why? Because the marketplace rewards value added, and value added is a function of the hard work, the consistency, and the resilience of your efforts. I think we have Mr. Wazih back. For some reason there we had him cut off a little bit, but we have him back on. But I'm just saying that the marketplace will rewards value added. Value added works in line with your relevance. How relevant are you to the marketplace as an individual? We were just talking a little while ago about what can be done. Should we sign petitions online to beseech the government to approve these different systems that we're trying to build so we can have a comfortable trading ground, a financial system where we can make payments, and an energy system where we can not have internet outages on us and all that stuff. So we have Mr. Wazih. Mr. Wazih, please continue on your thoughts, sir. Oh, we just lost him again. So while he gets back in to give us his thought, I want to encourage you to, while some people will be working in the background to getting everything comfortable for you, you're on your own side, don't get comfortable. Put your brain to work. Be a genius at whatever you do. Be creative, even if it is selling banana. Find a way that you can make banana smoothies that will benefit even the local man on the street. Even if it is about selling oranges, find a way that you will be very prosperous in that business. Mr. Wazih, please go ahead and continue on your thought if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you, Mr. Julius. I'm really sorry. Actually, this goes back to the problem I was talking to you earlier about concerning energy.
Energy, the internet. I was just talking about it. Yes, so it's crazy.
Yeah, it's not actually they took electricity, and then so my modem, my Wi-Fi went off, and I had to quickly switch to mobile data, and then
Oh, okay.
so yeah, I actually lost my train of thought there, but
We're talking about, we remember had talked about maybe we should sign petitions online to subject
oh
the
yeah, yes,
government
yes.
into
Okay, I
yes.
get. Let me. I wanted to go back to the point where the Nigerian economy was struggling to control like their monetary policy,
Mhm,
to because they have a fixed exchange rate, unlike
mhm,
us, so they have to really actually control the flow of currency in and out. It's something that is
mhm,
done in Cameroon equally, on a daily. That's why electronic. That's why I was talking about payment, electronic payment. And when I was talking about electronic payment, I was not even talking about. It was not mainly for international for exchanges, like for international transactions or for international trade. It was mainly
mhm,
for local trade. So the
mhm,
payment system I'm talking about is should be focused on individual transactions between
mhm,
person A and person B, or between
mhm.
company A and company B
Company B.
within the same economy. Those types of transactions require they have a little less oversight from the government,
Mhm,
and because there are transactions that permit like the local man to be able to sell his goods and services. That is the
mhm,
payment that we are talking about, that we're emphasizing on. And I feel like with the advent of digital currencies, DeFi, decentralized finance, since
mhm,
we are moving into another paradigm of finances. Meanwhile, we have not yet even adapted to what was already existing. But
mhm,
it's an advantage, because it's like the mobile phone, as the example I was highlighting earlier, that we didn't move
mhm.
from the wired phone before coming. We skipped, and that is something that we can also skip in terms of us moving directly to decentralized finances. And decentralized
Finances, yes.
financing involves a lot of what is known now like cryptocurrencies and all that stuff. And
Mhm,
I feel like the Cameroonian government can do it in a way where they regulate they can regulate the currencies, while making it available to the local person. It, can, it
mhm,
could be it could be even just by creating uh, their own exchange platform like Coinbase, and exchange which is controlled
mhm,
by the government, but that permits
mhm.
people to be able to do real-time electronic transactions and fast payments, online payments, checking out cards and stuff, without
Right.
without having the difficulties that we are currently facing in terms of
Mhm,
payment, because there is no way we can profit from this digital economy, from where the world is now, the digital economy that is booming and making people billionaires and millionaires, when
mhm.
we don't have a catching out system, we don't have a
That is
payment
right.
system, we don't have a universal payment system that is accepted.
Wow,
That
wow,
is it.
wow. Thank you so much, sir, for that powerful one. I think that I don't know if the government knows all these, some of these things that you talk about, the people who can make some of these things happen, but you should consult for them, man. You should consult for them. I am really happy, and I've learned so much myself on the show today.
Mhm.
You definitely have a deep insight into a lot of things. I sometimes we get caught up in just being brothers in the house, and we don't know how much so much knowledge has been accumulated over time that can change our lives and so on. So you've definitely been very insightful today, and you've taught me so much, and you've taught a lot of people out there so much. The video is going
Mhm.
to be available on all our platforms. On Twitter, we're streaming live now on Twitter, on YouTube, and on our Facebook. It's going to be available on all of those platforms. People who were not able to watch because they didn't have the time to connect with us now can go back and watch it. It's definitely a must-watch show. You said so many things that will change both the organizational and individual's perspective, and of course the government perspective to how we can emerge in this defining decade. And this was the whole purpose of the show. Before I let you go, sir, you've had the privilege of traveling, overseas to a few countries there, and of course, recently you came back from Egypt. With your, I don't know how you got into the international forum, where you were privileged and opportune to speak to diverse youths all over the world, from India, from Sri Lanka, from the United States, from other parts of Africa. That was an amazing experience. So, can you quickly talk to us about that and how that program changed your life and how that program is helping you to impact other youth these days?
Actually, the first time I went to Egypt, I was selected for the African Presidential Leadership Program. It's a program that was instituted by President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, where he during his mandate at the African Union. So
Mm-hmm.
the aim of it was to select influential youths
Mm-hmm.
from different countries within different sectors and bring them together in Egypt and train them on leadership skills and a lot of what is going on where the world is and how to become better leaders. As
Mm-hmm.
actually the word name presidential leadership is it actually says a lot because the training institution is known as the National Training Academy. It trains international youth from all over the world, the Middle East, and
Mm-hmm.
the delegates. It's like the Inam of Egypt. So it trains like the
Mm-hmm.
leaders
Mm-hmm.
of the country. So it was a
Mm-hmm.
very great privilege for me. I met a lot of people across a lot of sectors, people that have become brothers to me, people that are doing a lot of wonderful
Mm-hmm.
things in their individual countries. We are in the same groups now. We exchange ideas. We talk a lot. They're giving me a lot of endorsements. We've endorsed each other, recommendations. They have opened
Mm-hmm.
my mind on a lot of things, on seeing the world way bigger than I could ever imagine. I feel like that's one of the most defining experiences for me. And it was true that I got the recommendation to perform at the World Youth Forum now for the first time. That was 2019, and then before
Right.
performing this time. But and it's funny because I didn't go there. It had nothing to do with music. It had more to do with my academics and
Mm.
my path as a leader, as a youth advocate. Because I'm also a yearly alumni.
Mm-hmm.
I was also selected as one the top 100 brightest minds in Africa. That was also last year. So there are a lot of organizations that have been doing advocacy for, like my song "Be Happy" was an advocacy for a song for against depression and suicide and stuff like that. So it was
Mm-hmm.
based on that I was selected. But when I got there, I had the opportunity to play in front of my friends. I was always just excited playing with my guitar and stuff. And so
Mm-hmm.
one person there was like, "Wow, this, okay, I'll recommend you. I have the person that's selecting for the World Youth Forum is that." So that's how I got into the World Youth Forum, and fast forward to now. So I feel like each and every place that you are as a youth, just
Mm-hmm.
try to express the talent you have in you, the side of you that people don't know. And maybe it's that side that will get you into another platform that will present you in a brighter light. And it's just like that. I feel like more youth should try to connect with youths from other countries that have similar experiences like
Mm-hmm.
them,
Mm-hmm.
that are
Right.
struggling to solve similar problems like them, and ask them even on the challenges on how they did to solve the problems in their individual countries, and trying
Mm-hmm.
to implement those solutions within your local communities. And it makes our work as youth development advocates and as builders, as because I consider myself as a builder. I makes our job as builders easier in terms of how we can affect our society and bring about change in whichever small sector we find ourselves in.
Absolutely. Wow. Thank you so much for that information, man. I want to also applaud you for the amazing coaching you're doing, in the life of the young people back in Africa, and of course, the people that you connect with all over the world. It's amazing. We need that. People need that energy. People need that knowledge, and you invest in yourself. You self-develop yourself for other people. Now, that act of selflessness right there is a big one. Before we go ahead and round up the show, one last thing, man. From my understanding, you are still single, and that's it's not a problem per se, but I know that I don't know if I'm wrong with this, but Wazih has always seen marriage as an achievement. I don't know if it's an achievement or or it was just an outside conversation we have, as brothers. But you are still single and you're not married. Any plans anytime soon? Should a lot of girls in my inbox, of course. Do I have to send in recommendations? Are you searching, or are you just focused on developing yourself that you don't care about, a family settling down and all of that? Please tell us a little bit about that.
Before going to that, I would like to talk about how I view marriage and how I view growing up. I Since I was always someone who was always like enthusiastic about information and knowledge. I usually get carried away by the statistics behind success in marriage,
Mm-hmm.
and if marriage is relevant in today's society and all, and even religion and all. And those are the things that I usually had a lot of conflict with as someone that But if
Mm-hmm.
I say my past doesn't have anything to do with me, because I feel like I'm always evolving, in that
Mm-hmm.
I evolve now in my way of thinking. Like, I no longer see religion the way I used to see it. I no longer,
Mm-hmm.
like my my fundamental religion is that I identify with is Christianity, But at some point,
Mm-hmm.
I consider myself as an atheist, and before that, I considered myself as a Christian. But it's a transition for me.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? In terms of, it was not just in terms of my knowledge, because I had to challenge my beliefs as a Christian by being
Mm-hmm.
something other than that, and then
Mm-hmm.
understanding the importance of religion and Christianity in society and for me as an individual. And
Mm-hmm.
it's the same with marriage. I had to challenge the idea of marriage, and try to put every aspect of it to a test, to be able to understand its importance and why it is
Mm-hmm.
important for you to be in a marriage, in a marriage, and
Mm-hmm.
being as a leader, you being married and having kids within a marriage structure, and bringing up well-developed kids within a marriage structure, and preparing them also to be future leaders. So
Mm-hmm.
that is going around my whole fundamental idea. I was talking about my idea about marriage that you already know. But
Okay.
right now, I'm looking for someone who fits into where I see myself in the future. She doesn't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily have to be. She just have to have the same enthusiasm about life. It doesn't have to
Mm-hmm.
be. She doesn't have to see life the same way I see. It will even make more sense if she sees life different from what I see. But she has to be enthusiastic about knowledge, and about information, and about the future, and the possibilities that the future holds for us. And I feel like, to me, that is an ideal partner, until I find that person that will be enthusiastic with me and say, okay, when I bring up an idea, she's like, let's do this. Or she brings up an idea and I'm like, yeah, man, let's do it. Like, I'm that guy who is always like, let's do it. I don't see why an idea wouldn't work. I'm always giving you the possibilities on how an idea will work. And then that guy, so I need someone who has that same energy for us to be able to discover how much we can do as humans, and as a unit, and as a future family. So it's out
So
there.
are you telling me that with all these women that are floating everywhere in the nation in Cameroon, you haven't caught one like that? I mean, well, you say it, man. Is there none that is that enthusiastic and that
there
fit
is there
within the
is there
framework
is
of knowledge?
somebody there's actually somebody I've been talking to, very interesting person. I've been talking to for quite a while. I'm investing time, a lot of time, because I feel
Okay.
like that's like my most valuable resource at the moment. So I'm investing a lot of time and energy, and I'm hoping that it leads to something, to where I want. And I feel like you have to really, it's not like just by hoping. I feel like it's hard work, and gradually,
Absolutely.
yeah, investing in it so much. And I hope it works. I'm not hoping, I'm working hard for it to work
Mm-hmm.
and to be what
Mm-hmm.
I want. So yes.
That is good to hear, man. I do know that you definitely have mommy also behind you, your mom. that is policing you about this. I don't think that she has time to care about a girl feeding within the framework of knowledge or something. You know, as long as she can cook some achu soup and make some good food and take care of her, my mom is already good and ready to go. You know, it's
Moms will be
it's
moms.
amazing.
That's
They'll
it.
always be moms. Man, I want to
Yeah.
appreciate you for taking the time to being on the show here with me today, man. It was very insightful. It was very rich. We I definitely want to have you come back because there's other things that I would like us to talk about, which is also very big. You know, the
Mhm.
reason why I would like to bring you back on the show to talk about this is because of it feels like a plague sometimes because the way the African society perceives religion within the framework of life and hard
Mhm.
work and succeeding and all of this is quite different. And like you said, there was a point in time you thought that you had those different thoughts as per religion is concerned. You've
Yeah.
you've done some intensive study on religion itself. So I definitely will not mind bringing you back on the show so we can talk about this, you know, and get into certain depth because I know you to be a very truthful, direct, and a straightforward person. And you will not speak from a place. You will not speak from a subjective place or a selfish place or a biased place, but from a place of knowledge. You know, knowledge that you have acquired, knowledge that there was a phase that you know that you were talking about this particular subject from a very subjective point of view. You know, maybe because you were frustrated by society and all of those things. But from now, I feel confident that you've learned so much and you've gathered so much information that you will speak from a very wise place. Now, any last
I feel
words
like
for
at that
your
point,
people? Yes,
it
sir.
was also from a very wise place. I just have to reiterate on that. But it, for you to be able to seek knowledge, you have to risk offending people.
Mm,
And for you to be able to have free speech and freedom of thought, you have to
hmm.
risk offending even the people you love. And you
That
have
is true.
to risk challenging ideas no matter how old they are. Because
That
if you
is
don't
true.
challenge ideas, you never the ideas don't evolve and individuals also don't evolve. And I've
That's
never
true.
had a problem challenging ideas. I've never had a problem challenging institutions. I've never had a problem challenging individual ideologies. Even sometimes they rock my core and then they give me I dive into existential crisis just because of an idea that I'm struggling to conceptualize. But I feel like after each and every process like that, you always find a transformation and you become a better, more holistic person than you were before diving into that chaos. And I feel like that's the essence of chaos.
Absolutely. Wow. Thank you so much. Any last words for our viewers today? We had quite a few people there and had a few friends also on the chat. Um,
Mhm.
any last words for the people before we go ahead and sign out for the show today?
Yeah. Thank you all for watching. I hope we didn't bore you with 2 minutes of just talking about things that may or may not be important to you, but I feel like um, humanity is just shared experience and us talking to each other and communicating and you listening and you commenting and you taking time out to actually see our own way of seeing life. It means a lot to us. I thank you, Julius, for inviting me on your platform. I know the respect you have for me and you know the respect I have for you as not just as a childhood
Absolutely.
friend, but as a brother that we have slept on the same bed for long. We have ate from the same plate, worn the same
Mm,
clothes, like
yes, sir.
brother to that level. So
Yes, sir.
it means a lot to me that seeing how the respect has evolved into with time and it evolves with us going our individual ways and maybe polar opposites, but still remaining focused on and having like the same energy we always had to do things, to change things, to leave an impact in our society. It means a lot to me that you could have me on your platform, which is, I feel like the fan base is mostly religious and Christian, which are people that generally don't like me, but yeah, that's
Not really, you know. And that's why I wanted to bring you on the show so that we can talk about the reality of things, you know. We don't want to spiritualize everything. There is the reality, and I think you hit the nail on the head. Again, thank you so much, sir, for joining. Appreciation from myself and my team for taking this time, the solid
thank you
two
so
hours of
much.
your busy day to being with us. A big appreciation. This is your platform as well. I know I'm running it, but it's your platform.
Thank you
Anytime
so
that
much.
you definitely want to be here, you have some work for us to do here. You know that we will not even have a conversation. We are doing it immediately.
Yes, sir.
My regards to your family, your community back there. Keep doing what you're doing, man. You are inspiring a lot of young people, and it is really working. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Julius.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, for everyone who was watching, this is the Defining Decade, and it's your boy here, Julius. I'm going to leave you all with these quick last words before I go. No matter how much the world tries to hold you back, always continue with the belief that what you want to achieve is possible. Believe you can become successful. Believing you can become successful is the most important step in actually achieving it, in actually achieving success. Very, very important. And I also want to add that you got a future. You have a future. You have a life ahead of you. You have to protect it. Focus on being the person that you are. Nobody has the right to tell you otherwise. Nobody, no system, no individual has the right to pop into your life to tell you otherwise. From today, focus on you. Do not let anyone place limits in your life. You got all it takes. You know what you are capable of. You know that you are capable of extraordinary things. Step out of your comfort zone and face life with all you got. Remember this: for me, I know who I am. For you, you know who you are. Do not mask an image to please a people. You will just be deceiving yourself, looping and killing time. Storms, wars, and waves, and challenges, and all kinds of different problems may come, but you got this. You can forge on, you will be successful, you will be victorious, and don't forget, I know who I am. You know who you are. Thank you again. This was the Defining Decade, and I'm your host, Julius T. Until then, see you another time.
Nous ressentirons plus de douleur. On n'aura plus jamais peur de rien. Au monde de l'amour que nous partageons, toute cette haine s'envolera.